Hello, everybody, and thank you, David. As usual, I enjoy speaking at your events. Today, I'm going to be talking about From Chaos to Clarity, Mastering Elliott Wave with the Wavy Tunnel Pro dashboard. Use our 5 hot indicators to pinpoint setups in stocks, Forex, futures, and crypto. Now, this dashboard is completely new. So it's the first time that I'm presenting it here today, and I'm very excited about it. And I'm going to show you what it's all about shortly. Here's the disclaimer to read. Very important to read. When you try out new strategies, make sure you practice the strategies on a demo or paper trading account before you put your real money to work. So on the left, that's me talking about my book, The Trader's Pendulum, just a little bit about me. So I wrote that book a long time ago now. Oh my gosh, it's 10 years already, but people are still reading it, believe it or not. And on the right, I was just published in International Business Times. So you can take a picture of the QR code if you want to read the article. I was published on Friday. So it's a new article. I didn't write the title. Oh my gosh, it's embarrassing. So embarrassing. But anyway, that's an article more about what I've done over the last 40 years in this space because I started trading as a currency trader for JP Morgan on Wall Street. And I created the FX Trader's Edge in in 2006. So I've been working in the retail market since that time and been, teaching a lot of traders, mainly about Elliott Wave stuff and what's developed since. So my career is I'm at the end of my career now. So the fact that we are showing you this dashboard, this is the culmination of all of the work that I've done over the last 40 years. So that's another reason why I'm excited to show you that. So today I'm going to go through the 5 core Wavy Tunnel Pro setups, how they align with Elliott Wave structure and market psychology. And it's for me, it's all about reading the chart. How do you read the chart? What can you see from what you're seeing, from the price action, from the candlesticks? What can you see? So I'm going to try to teach you the setups that I look for and how to spot these setups automatically. So I'm going to bring you to the dashboard scanner. We're going to show live examples of each setup. And the important thing is to trade with structure, not emotion. And this is something that that I've worked on my entire career. It's not easy, okay? Turn wave theory into a practical, repeatable strategy. And we do have a beta group going. Unfortunately, it's ending on the weekend. So I'm going to be offering you a special price, and the price is going to go up on the weekend for the dashboard. That's what my team has decided, as well as my technology partner. This is the 8-wave market cycle, where the Wavy Tunnel Pro setups happen. And now this is point zero, the beginning of a structured move. Elliott Wave is, you hear 5 waves up is a 5-wave Elliott Wave trend move followed by a 3-wave correction. This is the standard. This is the benchmark setup. But of course, a strong trend can be way more than 5 waves. It can be an extended wave. The important thing to note here is when this trend ends, and you can usually see the trend within channel lines, up here, this is when the market gets really exuberant and optimistic. Optimism is an understatement, and they tend to get very greedy and load up. Are we there now in the indices? We could be. I don't know, because certainly we've moved up without any kind of meaningful correction. And this is Warren Buffett saying, be fearful when others are greedy, be greedy when others are fearful. So he's a contrarian. So at point T, what happens? Well, when the market does finally turn around, whatever causes it, we have the initial move down for an A wave, then a pullback, and then another move down. So the dashboard scanner that I have can find this point, and this is where the market tends to be fearful and panicked and discouraged and bail, because if you're long up here and then we get down here, what do you want to do? Like at some point you're just going to bail, right? Unless you get out near the top or even over here to prepare yourself for moving down. So trading is all about psychology and good timing, of course, but psychology, because your psychology is going to be completely different if you're down here holding the bag up here, right? Or if you're down here with cash to invest. And the 5 core wavy tunnel setups in the dashboard are the end of trend moves, the PW, and the fill the gap, the price to wave and the fill the gap. I'll tell you what they are. The price to wave is up here at point T or down here at point 0 when we are extended from the moving averages, let's say, and we just have a pullback. It can lead into this kind of a correction, or it can be just a pullback. The fill the gap is when we have the PW followed by a retracement, and then we have a big move down. And now the gap is the gap between the wave and the tunnel. Jeffrey calls it the roadmap line. It's the tunnel. I call it the tunnel. So it's really the same. I'll show you a picture of that in a sec. Trend continuation are the trend trade setups and for the breakout 3 and the wave 4 to wave 5 launch. After we have this move down to the tunnel or below the tunnel, then we start to move up again for a wave 5 launch. Like if you call this a wave 4 for the move up, that's the breakout 4 starting from this point. The breakout 3 starts, it's any pullback into the trend. That's what the breakout 3 is. And then sometimes we have very sideways range bound markets, which can be lucrative as well. So this is what it looks like. The purple lines, this is the wave. It's the 34 EMA on the high, low, and the close. And this is the tunnel. It's the 144 and the 169 EMAs. The PW, the price to wave, is a move into the wave. And then the fill the gap is filling the gap between the wave and the tunnel. And what typically happens is we start with a purple diamond up here, and then we get a gray diamond down here, and it usually shows up below the tunnel from our experience. Along the way, you have bounces off the wave. These are your breakout 3 trades. So our dashboard shows you when you get a breakout 3 trade, a bounce off the wave. And these are entries for the trend. Now, if we are in this part of the market cycle, we're not going to get there are no breakout 3 trades, because a breakout 3 trade is when the wave is separated from the tunnel. We're in a clean uptrend. And the cool thing about the dashboard is we just added a feature which shows you all of the 4,800 stocks which are above, where the wave is above the tunnel on the daily chart and on the weekly chart. I'm going to show you that. And then we have our sideways markets. So these are the wavy tunnel 5 core setups in the dashboard. Price to wave, that's trend reversal. Price returns to the wave for a bounce or a reversal. And you could set these up yourself on your charts. I told you what the moving averages are, and the filter is the 12 EMA. You just won't get the semaphores. The fill the gap trade is a catch-up move. The market fills the gap to the tunnel. The breakout 3 is trend continuation in a strong trend. And the breakout 4 is also trend continuation at the end of the wave 4. Okay. So once again, number 1 is this is a very deep pullback where price moves down to the tunnel. So we can call this the breakout 4 trade, and we can call this the breakout 4 trade. And the red and blue dots into the wave show entry points, the breakout three trend trades. And the purple arrow is the end of the swing. And then we have the price to wave and the fill to gap. So this is the ideal market map. And we're not going to see this for every single market, but I want you to have a look at this because these ideal market maps do show up. And these are the stocks, the patterns that are the most obvious, at least to me. Okay, when we're in a very strong, very significant correction, we're not going to see this kind of a market map. So let me just introduce the Wavy Tunnel Pro dashboard scanner. It scans 4,500, well, 4,800 now, symbols and growing across stocks, ETFs, futures, Forex, and crypto. It scans on the weekly and the daily. Now we can get the lower time frames on the scanner. The data comes from TradingView for the lower time frames. But the scanner doesn't work on the lower time frames, which is great, I think, because I really believe that I like to look at the bigger time frames myself. The setups are based on Elliott wave structure and Fibonacci logic. And I already showed you the 5, I say proven Wavy Tunnel Pro setups because this is really what my work has been for the last 40 years and more, because I did learn Elliott wave analysis when I worked at the bank. I worked for JP Morgan on Wall Street, and we did have an Elliottician that we hired from the Chicago Board of Trade, and he taught us a whole lot of stuff. And I was just into it. I was really a good student, and I just, ate it all up and loved it, and just couldn't see the market any other way without just looking at the waves. So the Wavy Tunnel Pro is it's a way to count the waves without really being a consummate Elliott wave counter, which I'm not. I mean, I can sit there and count the waves, but I prefer to look at the patterns. And that's why we have the Wavy Tunnel Pro setups, for the patterns. So the dashboard is built for real-time trade discovery, not hindsight analysis. It supports the strategy, doesn't replace it. It's fully transparent signals, and it's organized by time frame, asset class, or setup type. Let me show you it now. Let's go right to it. So this is the dashboard scanner. And I'm going to just click on the menu here. Well, before I do, I'm going to tell you we have the chart on the right, and we have all of the dashboard on the left. I can move this chart off the screen if I want to see everything, and then I can see what's all the way across. I can also see the menu here, and you can put up the asset class, the name, the price, the volume, the percent daily move, the country, the sector, the industry, market cap, whether it's optionable or not, the earnings date, the ex-dividend date, the dividend yield, the forward dividend. I have these unchecked, but I have the earnings date here. There are lots of earnings coming out over the next month. And then these are all of the Wavy Tunnel setups. Now, what's significant and what went live today is the trend for the daily and the trend for the weekly, and then all the setups. So I want to show you what that means. The way we've defined the trend is quite simply when the wave is above the tunnel on the weekly, it's a green up. When the wave is above the daily on the daily, it's a green up. It's a yellow when the wave is in the tunnel, and it's a red when the wave is below the tunnel. So if you sort by weekly wave below the tunnel, and if you get markets where the daily and the weekly are below the tunnel, I wouldn't be buying those stocks, okay, because both the daily and the weekly trends are down. And for all of these scans, I would highly recommend, even though this just came out today, looking to see what the daily trend is and what the weekly trend is. So this is another filter, and this is something that you can do as well. Now let me show you what I mean. Why don't let's look for here, microwave. I mean, this is an easy one to show you what the chart looks like. Let me just move it over again, where the daily trend and the weekly trend is up. Hey, it's up for Microsoft here. On the daily chart, which is on top, the wave is above the tunnel. This is clearly a major uptrend. Major, major. And look at this daily. Okay. Now, the weekly rather, major uptrend, right? A V bottom here. And this, by the way, is the breakout 4 signal that showed up on all of our scanners on this day. Like this is the breakout 4 signal when price comes down to the tunnel or below the tunnel. This is a tunnel. And then it just took off. And many of the stocks had the same pattern where we had the very deep correction. Now, what you can also do, because this is an end of day scanner, if you want to see the live market from the day, then you can hit live at bottom and we can see what Microsoft did during the day. So this is the hourly chart. You can put up the whatever time frame you want, the 5-minute chart, the 15-minute chart. I have it set to the hourly chart. But I tend to use TradingView on my other screen to get the live market data, and I prefer to have the weekly and the daily on this chart. So I'm going to turn it back. And let's go back to this. You can filter. You can filter. So if I want to filter for just stocks or just cryptos or ETFs, futures, Forex, I can do that. Let's filter for cryptos. I don't know if anybody trades cryptos here, probably. So now I have all of the crypto markets here. I can filter for any one of those asset classes. So let's just put it back to no filter. And this is the name, the price. If let's say I want to put stocks here, I can filter for price greater than $10, $25, $50, $100. So I'll just do greater than 50. And that brings the number of stocks down from 4,837 currently to 1,264. And this is the percent daily change. I can also filter by volume, let's say over a million, and that brings it down to 541 stocks. I can also filter by optionable, and that brings it down to 374 stocks. These are the earnings date that I told you about. And let's just click on one stock to show you what I mean by the trend, the daily trend and the weekly trend. We looked at Microsoft being up for both. Now let's look at one that's down. Let's look at General Mills. Okay. So with General Mills being down on both the weekly and the daily, that's bearish. It doesn't mean that we can't turn around. We can absolutely turn around, but we need some confirmation. So the first move is going to be on the daily. The first move will be the purple is the purple semaphore will be a move up, which this is happening right now, the price of the wave, and then we will move up to the tunnel. That's the fill the gap trade, the gap between the wave and the tunnel. So this is the first start of a reversal, of a market reversal. When that happens, the weekly will move into the filter, which is the 12 EMA, and will also move into the wave. And it's not until the wave starts to turn upwards that we will be in a bullish market once, of course, price starts to move higher. So this is a very, very deep correction, okay? Very steep move. I could open up the chart. Here, let's just have a look to see what, yeah. And you can use Fibonacci here, and yeah. Okay. I'd have to open up this chart this way. But over here, you can use Fibonacci to see what kind of a retracement this is. And yeah, let's just see, because that's something that's very important to know. This just gives you a screenshot. Oh, I'm doing it again. Okay. Okay, I have to go. I have to keep it here. See, this is new. I'm telling you that it's new, so I'm still getting used to it myself. But if we want to take from low to high to see how far down we retraced, which is what we typically do, we can do that. That just adds some information. Okay. And I'll just drag this over. And it's in between the two blue lines here, which would be the 61.8%, which is the top one, and the 78.6%. So that's a very, very steep retracement. Okay, we could be ready for a turnaround now. Let's go back. Okay. Yeah. So the trend and the trend weekly and the trend daily, when we do scans, we want to make sure we see what those are. So the first scan that we can do is the PW, and I've set up all the scans. So I've set up all the scans, and this is actually a dynamic watch list. What that means is I've set up these scans where it says I'm picking the buy ready and the buy signal greater than 25, that's the price, and greater than a million, that's the volume. This is what, and all stocks. So this is what I've set up for the scan. So I can get an email every single night telling me how this list has changed, because it's a dynamic watch list. So I can set up scans for any one of these wavy tunnel trades, and it's a dynamic watch list. I get notified if I set the alert and say, please notify me for the PW daily scan. Now let me just go back to the presentation, and I'm just going to show you some examples, and then I can come back to the scanner. And if there are any questions, just ask. Okay, just type in some questions. So the price to wave, this is from the scan. So I'm just showing you a few charts that look good to me. Okay, now we're into the part where I've done all the scans, and I'm just showing you some good stocks, some stocks that look good to me. Not that you're going to go out and just buy them, but they don't look so bad. So this is Procter and Gamble, and again, you can put these moving averages on your charts yourself. So the daily is on the left, the weekly is on the right. Notice what I'm looking for here. What I'm looking for is I want to see that the weekly trend is up and that the daily trend is down for this price to wave signal. I want to see that the weekly trend is up, because I want the tunnel on the weekly to have my back if I'm going to be buying anything. That's very important. So when I see this weekly chart where price has moved up and the wave has separated from the tunnel, and we've had a very steep retracement with the gray diamond here, but again, if you don't have the wavy tunnel indicators, you can still see the pattern. So we get the move down to below the tunnel, this is a good thing. Then I look at the daily and I know that the wave is going to be below the tunnel on the daily. But the price to wave is the move from here up into the wave. So this already occurred. Okay, this already occurred. And the next move, if this is going to turn around and to continue moving higher, might be a little bit of a retrace and then a move up to above the tunnel. That's the first step in the wavy tunnel process. We have a market reversal, we get a pullback or not, and then we get a continued move to the tunnel. At that time, the wave is starting to curve upwards. We also have our bungee indicator, which I haven't shown you. That's part of it. I guess I could just show you here. Why don't we go back and I'll show you. I'm just going to move this over and I will put the bungee indicator on. You can get any indicators on here. Okay. And I'll just open it up. Let me put the bungee indicator over here as well. Okay. Yeah. So this is the bungee indicator. And we also want when this starts to move up, when price starts to move up and we do the fill the gap, what will happen is the strongest bungee will start to move higher out of the reversal zone. Right now it's in the lower reversal zone, but it's starting to move out of it. And that's what we want to see. And really, when we go above the 50% mark for the yellow, then that usually coincides with an uptrend. That usually coincides with an uptrend. And if we look at the weekly chart, it's the same story. We definitely want to see the yellow bungee moving up if this is going to be a market reversal. But we do have a beautiful three-wave move down for a correction down into the just below the 61.8% area. So from a Fibonacci standpoint, this could be interesting. Okay. I showed you General Mills, not Procter and Gamble, but it's the same. I just wanted, well, okay, we were talking about Procter and Gamble. Let's look at that. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. So this is exactly what I was saying with the bungees. We want to see the yellow moving up. It's come out of the lower reversal zone, and we've already have the PW trade. So then we want a retracement, and we want a move back up to the tunnel. So this is it could be the end of the trend. Now notice that these PG, Procter & Gamble, is optionable. The next stock is not optionable, and that's this stock here. The pattern looks the same. The pattern looks very nice. On the weekly, you have the tunnel. The tunnel always has your back, and you want to see it moving off the tunnel, obviously. And that starts with a move into the wave and then a retracement and then the move into the tunnel and then the wave crosses the tunnel. So these are stocks that have been out of favor for a bit. They've been out of favor, the ones that I'm showing you now, and we've had a steep correction. And could this be the turnaround point? Well, that's the question. The other thing to look at when you're looking at these stocks is you want to look for divergence. That's something that I always look for. So I use the awesome oscillator, and I don't have it on this because the real estate is valuable on this dashboard. And, if I'm looking at two charts on top of one another, the daily and the weekly, it's kind of hard to have the bungees and the awesome oscillator there as well. So what else do I want to say about this? If you're trading options, you're not going to be trading the stock. Okay? If you're trading options, you're going to want to sort by optionable. That's it. But both of these stocks have the uptrend for the weekly and have a downtrend for the daily for this particular setup. And this is the dynamic watch list. So if you want to take a screenshot of this and have a look on your own, you can have a look at all of these setups. Okay. The dynamic watch list was set up for prices greater than $25 for the volume greater than 1 million. And the daily PW is the buy ready and the buy signal. So I didn't tell you about the buy ready and the buy signal. The buy ready is when we just get the purple. The buy signal is when price closes above the 12 EMA to start. That's the buy signal. So I like to look at both. But you can see the distinction here is this is the buy ready, and then this would be the buy signal with the up arrow. Okay, now let's move to the fill the gap trade. And I just have one example here. I wanted to show you this because this is really, I like this is the purple gray. It's not really technically a fill the gap trade. This is the sideways trade. So when you get a purple followed by an upper gray and then a lower gray, this is really sideways price action. Very often you will see this moving up, and if the wave crosses back above the tunnel, you will get an upper purple diamond. Okay. Because what we've found by using this over long periods of time is that these semaphores occur in pairs. And when the wave is above the tunnel, you can get an upper purple. You can expect that. So that's a big move. Obviously, you can do a lot more analysis. You can look back at the whole chart and run some Fibonacci and see where we are. I'm not doing that right now, but of course I would do that. Okay. Yeah. So on the right, we have the weekly. Again, this is very interesting because the weekly trend is up. So the wave is still above the tunnel, but a purple gray just gives on the weekly chart, it's the gray red. That's what it is. Okay? That's what it is in this little section of the chart. And as long as the wave is above the tunnel, this is a good thing. Okay. We do need price to start to head up again, and I would like to see a move above the filter before doing anything, but we have the setup. Now, the breakout 4 trade is one of my favorite trades, and this is the dynamic watch list for the breakout 4. So you can take a screenshot, and the criteria are price is greater than 25, volume is greater than 1 million, and we can check off the buy ready or the buy signal. So I've checked off both. So buy ready and buy signal. You definitely want, and I also sorted by the trend being up for the weekly. Okay. Up or sideways is fine, but you definitely want that. Again, you want the tunnel to have your back. So let's just see if we have a few examples here. Berkshire Hathaway. Okay, this is a really nice setup. on the right, we have the weekly. Now, I don't know if on the weekly chart, we're not going to have a small, like an Elliott wave analysis, the pattern to look for to see if we're going to have a bigger correction down into the weekly tunnel is, like I showed you with the 8-wave market cycle, you have a move down into the wave, and then you have a pullback, and then you have a final move down into the tunnel. So that would be a 3-wave move. As long as we hold this wave, and here we broke down below it a little bit, but as long as we hold this wave, there's no reason to call a top. We could start to move up and make a new high. I don't know that. So you have to play it by ear, like you have, not by ear, but you need to follow the price action and see if price moves up and doesn't take out these price highs and starts to roll over. In that situation, when it starts to roll over and we go below this low, then I can say we're going to the tunnel. Sometimes we don't reach the tunnel totally, and sometimes we go below the tunnel, but we are going lower. So the first thing that happens is we have a pullback, and if we make a new high, then the trend continues. If we don't, then we're going to roll over, take out these lows, and we will go lower. So right now, we can just, this is the breakout 4 on the daily. So we can assume that we have reached a bottom here, and that's how we're going to assess the situation. At least we want a pullback. Here's McDonald's. This signal came over here. So a few weeks ago, we got that signal. And at that time, the tunnel still had our back. This is where the red dot is on the weekly chart. So we've moved up in a choppy fashion, okay, with the gray and then a blue, blue, red, 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 blue. It's a choppy fashion, but we're higher, and we do need price to start to go above the tunnel, the intersection between the wave and the tunnel. That's what we need. But by the same token, because we have gone up in so many different stocks, and here we have the purple, we have to watch this level. We have to watch this level and see if, in fact, we start to trade up when we don't take out these highs, and then we have to be careful. Okay. Oh, I wanted to show you T-Mobile. This was a stock that was that the breakout 4 trade found over here, and it looked really solid with the weekly also having our back. And I just wanted to show you that this scan was done. It's like from end of day data yesterday. It refreshes 2 hours after the market closes. But T-Mobile had a pop today. This is the live data. So when we refresh tonight, we're going to be up here at okay, at 248. So from this signal, okay, the breakout 4 signal, and then we also have another one over here. This was also a signal. We finally popped. Okay, so this was a very nice trade that was shown last week or 2 weeks ago. And then another trade that came up a couple weeks ago was Yum. So this also looked really good. I like this one because on the weekly, again, the wave is above the tunnel, and we came down into the wave, and that held. And the red dot on the weekly is the gray on this daily. Okay, so we have to see there. So that's the breakout 4, and there are lots of breakout 4 trades. And well, I could actually, let's go back and just have a look. Okay, I'm going to put up the dynamic scanner and let's just uncheck some of these so we can see the breakout 4. And yeah, let's just uncheck them. Okay, and we'll just move this over. Okay. Okay, why don't we look at Abbott Labs? Just click on it and let's see what we see here. Okay, this is interesting. Let's start with the weekly. And I'm just going to hide these do I want to hide the bungees? Okay, well let's start with the weekly. What I like about this is that the yellow bungee line is hot is it's above 50%. And so what that means is that it's a pretty strong trend. And we had a nice move down to, I don't want to show, to right below the wave, but the tunnel still has our back. And then we move up to the daily. Just going to. I wanted to get rid of the, okay, here it is. Just going to get rid of this. Okay. Yeah. So then we move up to the daily and look what happens. We gap down. So we really didn't get a signal until this gap down right over here. But you have to do, a little bit of work. You have to look at the weekly, and this is where we are now. It looks interesting. I mean, I would like to see some confirmation, some more confirmation, maybe a close above this green filter line, maybe a retracement, and I want to make sure that this low holds. But and then we'll have to see. Let's see what else. We looked at Berkshire. So this is it on the live. Okay. So again, the weekly looks good. Okay. But we don't know if we start to go up and we take out these highs, great. If not, if we go up Fibonacci percentage and then start to roll over, well, then we're going down here, okay, to the tunnel. We looked at McDonald's. Let's look at this one. Okay. Okay, same pattern. The wave is above the tunnel, which is nice. So the tunnel has our back on the weekly chart, and we had a very, very deep correction down to here. Now you're not going to see this gray dot anywhere else. Like this is the first time it appears, and that's just telling us, well, we've had a really deep correction now. Maybe it's time to have at least a retracement of this move. And then if we continue on higher and we take out these highs, then we've started a new trend. But our first target, or our target, the last target is always going to be, a profit target is going to be the previous high. And how you want to take profits until then is up to you. But until we break the high, I would rather be conservative and just go for the previous high on any one of these trades. All right, let's see if there's anything else that I want to show. Are there any questions? Okay. Okay, this is an interesting one because in this case, we have two yellow arrows, okay, for the trend, for the daily and the weekly trend. Well, that means that the wave is in the tunnel. So that means that I'm not so, the wave is just starting to cross the tunnel on the weekly, and the daily setup is fine. We've done a steep retracement, but the weekly is not complete. It's not totally bullish yet. The wave is still below the tunnel, and it's just starting to show its face. So this would not be my ideal setup, just so you know. And if you look at, let's see if there's anything else. We only have 10 setups here. Okay. So this is an interesting one, Chubb Limited. We have to watch this. We want to make sure that price starts to move up because we don't really want to see the wave totally below the tunnel. It's okay if it's in the tunnel, but we don't really want to see the wave below the tunnel. So what could happen here if the wave does go below the tunnel? We could be headed towards the weekly tunnel here. We've got to turn, if we are going to turn around, it has to be now. And if we start to break down, then our target is going to be the weekly tunnel. And then this will be just, just a bigger correction. So that's how we use this information. The breakout 3, this is the dynamic watch list for the breakout 3. And this is the bounce off the wave. So when price is in an uptrend, it's a bounce off the wave. Now, what we have a group of traders that are using this, and a lot of changes, enhancements have been made already, and different markets have been added. Some people want Australian markets, and just different markets from different parts of the world. So we're trying to do that. I'm trying to work through that with my technology partner to be able to do that, to be able to provide. And that's what the beta group is all about. This is kind of the end of the beta group because we've had a few weeks with the beta group and we've made a lot of changes. There might still be some changes that the beta, well, we're not going to stop developing. If some good changes come along or suggested, then I'm sure if it makes sense, my technology partner will be happy to implement. But right now is not a black box. It's built on transparent Elliott wave logic. We show you all the setups. We have training to show you what the setups are. And I think it's just a good way to look at the market. Like it's just a good way to see the setups. It scans 4,500 symbols across, well, now 4,800 across multiple asset classes. It aligns with wave counts, Fibonacci levels, and real structure. Find setups that match your strategy, not someone else's. Trade with clarity, consistency, and confidence. The only scanner built for the Wavy Tunnel Pro and Elliott Wave timing, which is really neat. And it's based on the trading view. So if you use other indicators, then you can certainly put them in. I also sometimes I like looking at these different, I was looking at the step line. I know I'd have to check this out, but this is kind of interesting because you just see the dots and you don't see any of the the candlesticks. So I was looking at that earlier today. And then of course we have Heikinashi is here. I know some of my clients really love Heikinashi. So you can get that feature. You can put wave counts on it if you want. These are all of the Elliott wave patterns. These are harmonic patterns, so you can just draw them in because this is from the TradingView interface. Okay, so this has a lot of features. Very interesting. And I just have a little bit more, but if you want to put in some, I see that some symbols that you want me to analyze for you, I'd be happy to do that. Let's just finish up with this and then we can go back to analyzing. So this is the final beta group, Shape the Future of Elliott Wave Scanning. Are you ready to trade smarter with the Wavy Tunnel Pro dashboard and get access to the full featured scanner with real-time alerts? So you can set alerts for all of these setups, like I told you, for the dynamic watch list. I didn't show you there are integrated tools also for note taking. You can take notes and you can set up your own watch list. So if you want to bring in 200 of the stocks that you follow, you can import them and you can run the Wavy Tunnel Pro scanner on all of those 200 stocks. So that's really valuable. And let me just show you the note-taking feature because I think that's very cool. So let's write a note. Berkshire. Here, let's just first get Berkshire here. Okay. And let's write a note. So I'm going to click on the note. And what I'm going to put down is I'm going to put a screenshot. And I am going to say, you can say whatever you want, breakout 4, triggered, you can say whatever you want. Look for maybe a small pullback, I don't know, and move above the tunnel, the daily tunnel. I mean, I'm just making that up. So now I'm going to close it, and you can, use any of these features here. You can even have a voice note. Now I'm going to close it, and there are two different notes here, okay? And you can always, these notes stay, so you can filter by the notes. So this was the McDonald's note that I did. Let's just see. So this was, when did I guess I must have done this. Here, let's look at the price again. I'm going to put up McDonald's. When did I do this? Let's just put the regular candlesticks back. Okay, so we have blue. Okay, we have that kind of a pattern. So let's see when I did this. Yeah, okay, so I did it when it was up here. Okay, yeah. Anyway, this is a great way to document your trades, to document what you're looking for. That's the note-taking capability of the dashboard. So I was telling you that Microsoft hit, this was like your breakout 4 trade right here, and it moved 37% in 2 months. Okay, the scanner wouldn't miss this. I mean, you can scan every single day at the end of the day if you want. This is Live Nations, same setup right here. It turned around, 31% return in 2 months. Now, what if you missed the bottom and wanted to get in with confirmation of the new trend? So up here, we have a lot of zigs and zags, right? So what if you don't get in here? Maybe you can get in here. Maybe you can get in here. Maybe you can get in here. Well, you can. That's the breakout 3 trend trade. So you run the scan for lower blue or red, put it on your dynamic watch list, and look at it once a day, and then you can nail the entries on the dips. And where I have these arrows is where you would get notified, where you would be able to enter again if you miss this. Okay, and here's another one. So that's kind of good, because otherwise, how do you remember? Like, how do you remember? Well, you have to document your charts and really, keep a journal to know which trades you're watching, or just keep it on your watch list. And you can create a sub watch list for the trades that you're looking at and document your chart, and then have a look and remind yourself, oh yeah, I want to, buy on the breakout 3 pullback. So if you're ready to trade smarter with the Wavy Tunnel Pro dashboard, that's great. We do have time. We do have time to show. Join our early access group and help shape the future of this tool. The launch is ending this weekend, so if you want to join, this is a second wave beta testers, you'll have to do it before the weekend. Okay, this is the price, $5.97. And you can scan the QR code if you want to get the link to sign up, but it's wavytunnelpro.com/dashboard. If you have any questions, you can email me, Jody at fxtradersedge.com or support@fxtradersedge.com. I will answer you. I will absolutely answer you, and right away. I won't wait a week before answering the email. So please email me. I am going out this evening, however, so I will not email you back this evening. Okay, usually I'm here, but why don't we take a look at some markets that you're asking me to take a look at. So the first market is GEV. Let's have a look. Let me move this. Okay, this data looks terrible. Something's not right with this data. I'm not sure what's happening here, but I'm going to write it down and tell my technology partner to check this out because I'm not sure what happened there. But if we look at the here, let's open this up. Okay. Here we go. So now we have the awesome oscillator and we have the bungees. So let's have a look. Okay, this is interesting. This is interesting. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, this doesn't look so good to me. Okay, I'll tell you why. You have a purple semaphore up here. You have a beautiful yellow, yellow, and then a gray down here. The wave has already crossed the tunnel. This is one of our setups where you have the purple, gray, and then the upper gray. And if we start to trade down below the wave again, we will get a lower purple diamond down here. I don't know what the percentage is of the time when you get an upper and then the wave crosses down below the tunnel, you get a purple, and the tell is when we get a lower gray and an upper gray and we start to trade down below here. I wouldn't be long this. Doesn't look good to me. Okay, next, TLT. But I'm not I'm not a registered. That's just my opinion. Okay, I'm not registered, so it's just my opinion. Just that's why I put the disclaimer up. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing on the charts. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, this is the opposite example. All right, this is okay, the 20-year. So we have the upper purple, we have a gray, and we have a gray, and the wave crossed down below the tunnel. We already got the lower purple. So I would be looking for a move up. Okay, we have the purple, yellow, yellow. I'm looking for a move higher in this. Okay, next. And not even looking at the fundamentals. I'm not even looking at that. I'm just looking at the chart. Okay, Netflix. I think it, do I, okay, I guess I ran a Fibonacci here. Let me just take that off for a second. Look at this. This was a breakout force setup right over here. Oh, when everything's set up for a buy here. Okay, so this is interesting. Netflix, obviously, extremely bullish, but we finally broke down below the wave. Finally broke down. If we pull back from here and we don't make a new high, the next move is going to be down to the tunnel. We've already broken down below the wave. So we could have a bigger correction in this. And I could also run the Fibonacci from here to here to see where we are. We could have a bigger correction. Be careful with that. Mara. Okay, interesting. So we have the upper purple, we have the lower purple, we have a beautiful, this is a three-wave move into here. We've got to hold. We could be starting to turn around, but we've got to hold this. The wave has to stay above the tunnel. We've got to hold this. I mean, if you're long Mara, that's fine. You want to keep your stuff below these lows because if we go below here, then we could trade lower. But it looks good. This looks good to me. Maybe we'll have a little bit more of a correction before it turns around, but it doesn't look bad to me. What I don't like is that we've done three waves up. So I really do want to see some continuation. And the last one is, okay, there's a question. If you purchase before the weekend, the price will be grandfathered for you in the future. Yeah, it will be grandfathered. My team told me, I hate to say this, but they are raising the price on the weekend. Okay. So yeah, you will be grandfathered. Okay, the last one, SOUN, and then I'm done. I know my time is probably up. Come on. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. This looks to me like we have the upper purple. We've crossed down below the tunnel. We have the lower gray and the upper gray. This is one of our setups for a lower purple. Hate to say it. Probably if we go below these levels and the wave crosses down below the tunnel, we're headed lower. It's not we have to take out some of these. I mean, we could easily go up from here, and we could easily go up from here, okay? And then this as long as the wave stays above the tunnel. I mean, we could, and this could just be a blip. All right. The yellow bungee is still in the upper reversal zone. I mean, it looks good now. It won't look good if the wave crosses back down below the tunnel and we take out these lows, but it looks good now. It looks good. Okay. This could just be a blip right here. All right. That's all I have to say. Thank you.